There we go. Okay, so welcome to the 21st episode of the Revolutionary Code, where we bring you the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America. I am your host, Brother Tamani Mwandani out of Houston, Texas. I am the direct revolutionary product of one Cardinal and Bayou Chewy out of the Shrines of the Black Madonna, and the indirect revolutionary product of one Albert B. Clegg, African name Jaramogi Abebe Ajiman, the father of liberation theology and the founder of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. I am also the founder of the Black Gold Nation movement. My co-host, the national director of political strategy and implementation for the Black Gold Nation movement and the chairman of LACE, Liberation Advocates for Community Empowerment, the intellectual gangster, corporate grassroots revolutionary, and master domino assassin from Shreveport, Louisiana, aka The Boot, Brother Craig B. Lee. How you doing this evening, Brother Craig?
I am doing absolutely well and splendid, and want to say Happy New Year to everybody. And
Happy New Year.
Bringing in your new year on a positive tip, and we're ready to give you some powerful information in the 2021 in the new year.
All right, amen. All right, so before we get started this evening, as always, please give me a minute to let you know a little bit about the Black Gold Nation movement. Our ultimate goal is to put our people, melanated Black people, in a position by which we can own and or control the environment where we live, because we have come to the conclusion that when we allow other people to control our environment, we lose, period. When we allow other people to control any aspect, any system within that environment, we lose, period. When we allow other people to control the economic system, the educational system, the agricultural system, the political systems, the security systems, whenever we allow other people to control our entire environment or any aspect of our environment, we always find ourselves on the bottom or in a losing position in that environment. So it is our contention, the members, supporters, leaders of this movement, that we don't want to allow other people to continue to control our lives, control our space. So we want to be in control. So what we are here trying to do is identify, organize, connect, and build with our own people. We are not here just to inform or educate you. We are here to inform, educate, motivate, mobilize, organize, and build. Everything we do in this movement is an attempt to bring our people together, to find the right people who want to do something other than just talk and or post on social media, so we can prepare a better way for our children and our children's children. Tonight's show title is Black Codes, Labor Wars, and Industrial Slavery, Winners, Losers, and How We Flip the Script. Again, Black Codes, Labor Wars, and Industrial Slavery, Winners, Losers, and How We Flip the Script. Before we get into tonight's show, let me say that I want to keep those innocent persons who were just at work, who were accosted, attacked, provoked by the terrorists who were trying to attempt a coup d'etat in Washington, D.C. and around the country. Our thoughts and prayers go out to those persons who were injured. I know 5 people died. I know one person had a stroke and died. I'm not sure about the other 3. One was actually trying to climb through the window and she got shot. So she shouldn't have been doing that. But our thoughts and prayers go out to those persons who were innocently hurt from yesterday's pro-Trump individuals. So with that, we're going to jump right into the show. Black Codes, Labor Wars, and Industrial Slavery, Winners, Losers, and How We Flip the Script. Okay, Brother Craig, tonight's show title comes out of the our bi-weekly movie review, and we are discussing the documentary Plutocracy. So before we get into tonight's show, let's start with that first. What exactly is plutocracy?
Plutocracy is I guess you would say, the governing infrastructure for the architects and engineers of the system, the philosophy system and game that we are currently under. i.e. white supremacy, racism. It is the structure for those architects, engineers, the term for the super elites, those individuals who craft, design, create, conjure up the policies, the politics, everything concerning this philosophy, system, and game. That term represents those particular individuals. One could say it's a class, but it's actually more than a class. It is a term that represents a group of people who have the diabolical interest in creating the construct that regulates the commerce, the governmental politics, the way of existing, the thoughts, the symbols of what you see in America and throughout the world.
Gotcha. Okay. So going back a few episodes, we actually talked about how this idea of plutocracy or plutocrats came to be, where it came from. Without spending too much time on the history, help us understand exactly where plutocracy or plutocrats, what is the history behind that way of thinking? Where does all that come from? What does it derive from?
I mean, just it comes from an elitist perspective of people who have some intellect, but they use their intellect in a manner that is against the masses of the people and is focused on a small group of other negatively enlightened people who desire to not do regular labor, who see themselves as special because they have intellectual insight that the masses may not have. And so it comes out of a place, really, to be honest with you, coming from the continent. You know, I sat and thought about this years ago, because most of what you see in white supremacy has its origin in Africa. And so when we study the continent, we have to study the continent from a positive standpoint, and also it has negativity. So most of what these white folks have put together, their origin from their university systems to their philosophies, to business, commerce, all that started on the continent of Africa, and plutocracy is one of those things. So when I sat and thought about it, if you take individuals like you, myself, Naru, Brother Ken, and other high-level thinkers, if we were in a tribe in Africa, okay, no matter how smart we were, we would still be subject to doing the same chores that everybody else would be. And, they might, after they do their chores, they might be running around naked and, having fun, and everybody having fun, but me, you, Naru, Ken, we're sitting up trying to figure out how we can get water to the village more effectively than having to carry pails. And so we were thinking, we become the thinkers.
Right.
But simultaneously, we still had to do the same work that they had to do. So at some point, some of us, if you were not spiritually and culturally rooted, you started to figure out, like, hey, we're too smart to be doing this. We need to figure out a way to get the people who are not that smart to do these menial labor duties. And that's really the origin of how this concept came about. It wasn't as bad in Africa, but again, you can take something that has its origins one place and now it can be elevated to another place. And that's basically what you see. And so that concept was taken to a higher level in Europe. And then that concept was then brought to the Americas when the Europeans invaded this land. And they then brought us into the fold along with some of our own people who were already here, as well as the Native Americans, so to speak, and worked us within that overall construct of capitalism, because it is predicated on the creation, maintenance, and expansion of a permanent underclass.
I'm glad you talked about the history of how it came to be from Africa to Europe to here. We know that when the English persons fled England to come to America, they did not want to live under the rule of one king. So they came up with a different ideology that wasn't just one king, but several kings.
Yeah, multiple kings.
Yeah, so we also talked about that in previous episodes. Help us understand the history of, briefly, the history of not wanting to live and or rule the way the English were doing it, but they wanted to do it as from a group mentality or perspective. So help us understand that history a little bit.
Well, instead of one family, like on the continent, you might have one family, I Ching, one royal family. That then is picked up in Europe. And, white folks ain't trying to just roll like that. So it's like, we need to have multiple shot callers. And so that's, where this comes from. So the family patriarchs, because they're always going to be white males, who had the most gangster mindset and the most diabolical thoughts to navigate and play this game of human chess. Those individuals became the original founding fathers of this experiment. And out of that, you get architects, engineers, and the shot callers who were able to, combine economics and governmental politics, and those founding families who were able to put that together. They became the staple of plutocracy. They became the plutocrats. And those who were, wealthy as well, but they weren't as diabolical, they weren't as ingenious, they became the oligarchs. That's the next level underneath. And then those who, got a little money, but they ain't nowhere in the real design of anything, they became the aristocrats. So you got the architects, engineers, and the managers, and those who got the most intelligent, game, those families there, those are the plutocrats who figure it all out. But they're not going to just allow one family to do it. It becomes a syndicate.
It becomes a syndicate.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So sometimes, man, when you are answering a question and I'm getting ready for the next question, I swear, brother, I think you have a copy of my notes, if I didn't know better, because the next question was, what are oligarchs and aristocrats? So a perfect segue. So I'm going to skip over that one and just move to the next one. So it's pretty good on your part.
And I will say in answering that, so you can understand the oligarchs being underneath the plutocrats, you take, what happened on yesterday. I had to correct the sister on Facebook this morning because she was like, Trump is calling the shot. Like, Trump ain't calling no goddamn shot.
Right, no president does.
That board, Trump would basically be a bishop, knight, or a rook, right?
Yep.
So a bishop, knight, or rook is not calling the shot. He is doing the bidding of the king.
Yep.
So in this human chess game that we have, you have more than one king, and he is rolling at their serving, at their leadership, at their command. And so, needless to say, when those individuals said it's time to shut this shit down, the shit was shut down.
Yeah.
So if it was so-called Trump calling the shots, it would still be going on. So we got to understand that there are levels to this game.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do, they have the macro infrastructure where you have the macro plutocrats, oligarchs, and aristocracy. And then you have the micro plutocrats, oligarchs, and aristocracy. Get this, in each ethnic group.
Mm.
In each ethnic group. And so this is how they're able to use individuals who look like us to help sell the illusion of the system being something that can work for the benefit of the masses of the people. And that's where you get the term exceptional Negro. And so that's why they're always willing to sell the first to do this, the first to do that. But those people are co-opted into the mindset of the plutocrats because they set the landscape for everything that goes into the fold. So that goes back to the definition of power that Dr. Wade Nobles so eloquently defined, which is the ability to define reality and have others respond to your definition as if it were their own. And that's where this whole thing comes in. The plutocrats, those who represent the construct of the multiple king rulership, they define what is reality, and everybody else responds to their definition. And it's just amazing to see how powerful that concept is in the 21st century.
I always say, you and I, we joke about it, but we're quite serious when we say it. You got to get a white boy credit because the way he has set this thing up, it is absolutely, it can be overwhelming. Once you think you got one part figured out, if you don't understand the fundamental purpose of what they do and why they do it, you'll always be, confused and in the matrix. You just turn your camera off, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So we're talking about plutocracy, plutocrats, oligarchy, oligarchs, aristocracies, aristocrats. Then you mentioned micro plutocracy, micro oligarchs, micro aristocrats. When our people are being given solutions, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but we got to touch on it. When our people are given solutions by other melanated people, we often hear about what I call freedom papers having some sovereign status. We hear about reparations, white people giving us what they owe us. And the argument is not do they owe us, the argument is are they gonna give it. And we talk about religiosity. Those are the three primary quote unquote solutions that we call pseudo solutions in this movement. Yeah. So briefly help us understand, given what we're talking about, plutocracy and everything that goes with it, and the solutions that our people are offered, why would these solutions never work?
So part of the discussion tonight gets into the Black Code.
Yeah. Oh, we about to.
And when we get into the Black Code, the Black Codes were authored through the governmental political system.
Come on.
And so before you had the Black Code, guess what you had? The slave code.
Slave codes, okay.
So these same white folks who created the black codes that existed up until 1964, and correct me if I'm wrong, let me see, I was born in 1967, so I was born 3 years after the end of the goddamn black code. The illusion of the civil rights legislation, which took about 10 years to put together the pseudo-integration construct that we're currently in. So from 1964 to now, it's only 56 years. I was born in 67, so I'm 53. So we're talking about a concept that went on from 1865 to 1964, which came after the goddamn concept that went from 1555 to 1865. So if the same white folk who created the goddamn slave code and who created the damn government, which includes the judicial system that your punk ass want to go argue your goddamn case to, if they created the same damn legislative process, the same goddamn executive process, and the same goddamn judicial process, and it's the same damn process that's still in place, and it's the same damn people, how in the hell is this now supposed to change just because 300 plus years have passed since the initiation of chattel slavery on these shores? It's mind-boggling to believe that people, to know that people believe in these damn fairy tales. And then when you challenge them to now show any evidence where the white man has even given an inkling of a thought, okay, that this could happen and they can't do it, they still just say, hey, you don't understand. We're gonna argue the best case in their court and we're going to win. And so I've learned to just let them be and do their thing.
Yeah, there's a number of ways to refute the position, and we don't necessarily want to refute it out of disrespect. We want our people to understand that we really don't have time to waste on solutions that are never going to work. When I first heard about people wanting to take America to court and get the freedom paper thing, take it to the UN, the first thing that came to my mind was America is the largest supporter of the UN, which means what? They run it. So you're not going to, so it's just certain things that just simply aren't going to work. And I think our people, we get caught up in one of two things. Most of us, we really, really, really want answers and solutions. So we fall for people selling us false dream, false hope, because we really, really, really want to be a part of something. We want to be free. We want what's better. And I think people who don't really have a full understanding of what does work, they prey on our people's emotionalism, and then they sell us crap. And because we don't understand the system, we don't understand the game, we're constantly falling for it over and over again. And as we always say, that's one of the reasons why this movement is so important, because we want our people to fully understand everything as it relates to the philosophy, the system, and the game of capitalistic white supremacy and racism. Because if you don't understand that, if you fundamentally don't understand the world you exist in, then you will never be able to create anything to push back against what's destroying you in that world. And that's where we constantly miss out, because we're getting involved in these pseudo solutions that have been tried that did not work, but we're still trying to find a way, like, running away from white people, again, trying to go to court, freedom papers. So all that stuff is really unfortunate, because again, as we always say, we don't have a lot of time to do what we need to do, so we shouldn't be wasting it doing things like that. So getting back to the questions. So I just wanted to ask you about those solutions that our people are constantly being sold. All right. Non-pseudo solutions, fake solutions, whatever. So plutocrats or plutocracy is all about money and wealth, money, status, and materialism, as you like to say. But it's not just about money and wealth. It's about owning and or controlling people to do their bidding. Most of us have been taught to believe that the Civil War was not about slavery, but states' rights, right? Explain to us just how historically incorrect and inaccurate that ideology is. What was slavery really about?
Well, again, we don't live in one reality.
Right.
We live in a multidimensional reality. So both of those things are actually correct. It was about slavery and it was about state rights.
Okay.
You say, well, how could it be about both? Because the goddamn states wanted the right to determine slavery. So it's that damn simple. The white people do not want to be on record for who they really are. And they are diabolical. They are, so-called the devils, Satan, whatever you want to call them. So there's a desire to revise history. But the Civil War was indeed about states having the right to determine what they desire to do. And part of their desire was to use us for their commerce. Cotton, tobacco, sugarcane, whatever the goddamn product was, they wanted to use that free labor. So definitely that was at the core of this. But also at the core of this was governmental political power, okay? Governmental power to determine the representation of the government after the Revolutionary War. And so we became bargaining chips as relates to the creation of the United States Constitution. And so these are the things that shaped the landscape for the Civil War that came after the Revolutionary War, because the white folks in the South wanted to determine how they wanted to maneuver, and the white folks in the North wanted to determine how they wanted to maneuver. But understand, they were all rolling with the same construct of white supremacy racism.
That's right.
It was just which methodology they were going to roll with, a nice pimp game or a nice pimp game. It's still a goddamn pimp game.
Yeah, and regardless, we are on the whole side of the pimp game, because we had no stake in either side. And speaking of the record, I'm glad you said, that for the record. Speaking of records, did Lincoln really set Black people free because he believed in life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for everybody? So did he really set us free, and why is it important that we know if he did or did not? We as Black people. I had to do a debate years ago at Southern University in Shreveport with my brilliant research partner, Nathaniel Omari Davis. And the debate was the philosophical ideology of Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X concerning civil rights. And we represented the Malcolm X team. And man, we got so deep into this subject matter, and we discussed Lincoln. And we discussed Lincoln in concert of the Emancipation Proclamation. And we discussed Lincoln as it relates to this bogus claim
that was made on June 19th, 1865 to some of our ancestors down in Galveston, Texas, which created the celebration known as Juneteenth. And everything went back to 1863, or really 1862, when he created this concept. If you understand politics, governmental politics, and you look up the term proclamation, just look up the goddamn word proclamation. It is not legally binding. It's political theater. Just like what happened yesterday was political theater.
That's right.
The Emancipation Proclamation was political theater being used in the second year of the Civil War to try to win the war for the Union. And all you got to do is read Lincoln's words. He lets you know, I don't give a goddamn about these goddamn Negroes. If I could keep their punk ass in slavery and save the Union,
that's right,
I would do that. But what the actions that I'm doing is the best course that I think will free the actual Union. But no, our ancestors were not freed by the Emancipation Proclamation. What gave us partial freedom, what happened on January the 31st, 1865, which was the 13th Amendment. So, and what's so interesting about that, Lincoln was actually alive at that time. He wasn't assassinated until April of 1865.
Okay.
I think April the 9th or April the 12th or something like that. So it's interesting that the 13th Amendment came under his administration, but they don't want to link that to him for some reason. It's crazy, but they want to go with the Emancipation Proclamation, which had no legal standing to do a goddamn thing.
And why is it important for us to know that Lincoln did not indeed care about us and was all about saving the Union? Why is it important for Black people to know that?
Because it demystifies and what is it takes away the God concept.
There you go.
That Negroes, including Martin Luther King,
that's right,
have yielded to Abraham Lincoln, because it's a goddamn lie. It's a goddamn lie. And if you keep on spreading this lie, just like Columbus discovered America, if you keep on spreading the damn lie, the people are never going to be free to understand and embracing and understanding the actual truth.
Right.
And if you can't tell that truth about something that simple, you will never be able to understand the reality of white supremacy. It'll be impossible.
Right, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And I sent you a message today on Facebook. This is for you, Brother Ken and Brother Naru, because we're all talking about plutocracy and watching the movie review. When you brothers get a chance, I want you to watch a movie called Killing Jimmy Hoffa. Brother Craig, the intricate, violent, intimate, interwoven relationship between organized labor, organized crime, politics, presidential politics, assassinations, murder, drugs, alcohol. These dudes, man, it's absolutely amazing. And it's like I was, as I'm watching it, I'm thinking about the movie review Trick Baby. If you don't understand if you don't understand, have a relationship with, and respect the underworld, you're not only not gonna last in this game, but you won't be able to move because they know each other. They have meetings.
Exactly.
And they Brother Craig, they collaborate. So here we are trying to take the high road, and not wanting to get our hands dirty, so to speak, with people who have a different lifestyle. And we think we're going to progress, but we're not. So Killing Jimmy Hoffa, I'm gonna send Brother Ken and Brother Naru the picture so you guys can watch it. It's man, it's eye opening. It is as eye opening as plutocracy is when it comes to organized labor and understanding all this money, man. It's a hell of a documentary.
And that's why I use the term intellectual gangster.
No doubt.
The part of defining me.
Yep.
Because if you don't have connection to the street,
man,
if you don't understand the politics of the underworld and how the underworld connects to the pseudo legitimate world, and you believe what you see on the exoteric level, that these people just make their money legitimately and all of that shit. I mean, you ain't gonna never figure this out.
And you know, Brother Craig, going back to the pseudo solution, the one in particular, the sovereign status thing, you have the American government reaching out to the mafia to put a hit out on Castro, who's the leader of a country, his own sovereign, you know, he has his own military and everything, because they did not like his politics.
Exactly.
So what are you gonna do? it's like we don't understand the gangster nature of politics, which is why we keep getting out behind ski. All right, back to the questions. All right, so I'm glad you mentioned the 13th Amendment because, as usual, that is the next question. We know after slavery was abolished, there was a clause in the 13th Amendment that white people used to place black people back into slavery via the slave and black codes. Two things that most people do not know served to extend the life of slavery an additional 102 years, well into the Second World War. Slave codes and black codes were used with peonage farms and convict leasing to put people back into slavery by another name. So help us understand this escape clause called slave codes and black codes.
Everything is about labor. Everything's about labor. So, I mean, you have us in a free labor situation for 15 generations. Do you honestly believe that they want that to change? So, as they saw that they were going to change, they just came up with a different system before that permanent system that they had been in, had our people in for 15 generations. And that's where the whole slavery by another name comes in with the chattel, the convict leasing program. So now you release us and we're happy. And here the first day I can see my uncles and cousins right now, happy as hell. What you gonna do today? Shit, I'm gonna chill. I'm going down and I'm just gonna chill out. So now you got 300 of our brothers chilling, relatives chilling. But they don't know that the crackers have passed legislation at the state level, you know, these so-called black codes. And one of the most profound laws underneath the black code hustle dealt with what they call vagrancy. Now think about this now. They need some punk ass to go to work because they need the money.
That's right.
You ain't understanding it because from 1555 coming over here on the boats, on the ships, to 1865, you didn't earn not a nickel, a penny for your labor. There was no minimum wage. There was no goddamn maternity leave. No goddamn vacation time. You earned no money. And that went on for 310 years. So now the white folks like, we got to keep that. We like this system. So how do we keep them in the system? So now we create the laws. Hey man, you just standing up and you ain't got a job, you're violating the vagrancy law. Now we're gonna put your punk ass in jail, and now we're gonna lease your body out. The sheriff is gonna lease your body out back to the damn plantation that you were just released from.
Right.
And you say, wait a minute, I'm free. No, except the Constitution says,
That's right.
except for what? Punishment of a crime.
Of a crime. That's right. That's right.
That's cold-blooded game.
And what we still don't realize is that everything that's been done to us and everything that's being done to us has been done via the usage of politics and the desire to take, maintain, and wield power. We don't understand, again, the levels of it. We don't understand how interwoven all of it is. We don't understand the gangster nature of it. And that's why I constantly say, you know, we are losing the war because we don't understand the war being politics, because we don't vote. We're not even engaged in the war because we don't understand it. It's never been explained to us, not for real. We don't study it. We don't even know locally who runs stuff. And we think by voting for the president, it's going to change everything that happens to us on a day-to-day basis. So we got a lot to learn. And that's another reason why we say we don't have a lot of time to be wasting, because just local politics alone, as I'm learning via the help of Brother Lloyd, who runs the Houston team, there's a lot, you know, to learn just about what's happening locally. So if you're not engaged there's no way, you know, you're going to be able to not only fully understand, but make anything happen on any particular political level.
And that's why I'm so glad that Lloyd is on our team and is able to reinforce what I've been working with you to understand over these past few years. Because once you get into the mechanism of and intricate details of just local politics at the municipal level, city, parish, city, county, brother, you got so many goddamn parts just within that realm that you gotta learn the functionality of, and not just from the elected side, but from the appointed side. See, that's a whole nother game.
Yep.
The appointments of the board who help to shape the goddamn policies that the elected people would then decide, and you ain't in that clique. They're not gonna call your name to be on the Metropolitan Planning Commission, the goddamn Architectural Development Board, the goddamn Zoning Board of Appeal, the Alcohol and Beverage Board that determines whether or not you get a liquor license, or whether or not you can serve liquor as a waiter or waitress. You know, you get all this is politics. Whether you get an ABO card to work at the casino, all these are boards. They're not even elected, but they're put there by the elected officials. There's so many layers to. That's why I'm like, damn, I'm glad the money is really getting. Why I was saying, hey man, 100 cities, bruh. That's a lot. That's a lot that you gotta learn, man.
Yeah. And
it has taken 20-something years for me to learn the intricate details of all of this. So when I hear a retarded Negro ask me a dumbass question, like, well, since you done did so goddamn much, why things ain't changed? I say, you retarded ass Negro. The hell wrong with you?
Mm.
This has been going on for hundreds of years. Fool.
Mm.
Only one of me, and you sitting on the damn sideline talking foolishness, and they got a whole squad.
Yeah.
And they're working this thing.
A generational squad. And that's why, and don't comment on this because I want you to talk about it when we get to the end, but that's why we absolutely must control geographic spaces so we can have control of the entire system so we can do our own thing. Because if you don't control the space and have political power, then they can always use their power to remove you. So if you missed the beginning of the show, you're listening to the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America. Tonight's show is our 21st episode and is titled Black Codes, Labor Wars, and Industrial Slavery, Winners, Losers, and How We Flip the Script. My name is Tamani Mwandani. I'm the founder of the Black on Nation movement, and my co-host is Brother Craig B. Lee, who is our National Director of Political Strategy and Implementation. Okay, Brother Craig, now we know from the movie review of the documentary Plutocracy, which we are going to do part 2 this coming Saturday at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. We know that after slavery was abolished, there was a period of Black progress in the country called Reconstruction or Black Reconstruction.
That's right.
Tell us about that, what we accomplished as a people in that very short period of time, and why this period is so important and significant for Black people both then and now.
It's those 11 years from 1866 to 1877 have been the greatest. That was the greatest time period. That 11 years, that's a decade and 1 year, the greatest time period for our people collectively in this country. You had Black people being elected as senators, congressmen, at the federal level, at the state level. And like I always tell you, from 1864 to, you just say 1944, you had over 200 Black townships created, and it started in that time frame. We did more with less at that point than Negroes do today with more. And I mean, this time frame, brother, it was unparalleled. And one of the things that we do here in the city of Shreveport, since my uncle, my great uncle Giles D. Moore, was a part of that process. And when you and Lloyd came here, I showed you the community that he created, which was a town at one point, Moorestown, which is today Mooretown. And he was in partnership with what I consider to be one of the greatest leaders in world history, our former Lieutenant Governor, third Black Lieutenant Governor in the state of Louisiana, Cesar Carpenter Antoine, better known as C.C. Antoine. I mean, these cats were wealthy. They were business owners. They started newspapers. It's really incredible what they did at a time frame where it was so dangerous to even think about governmental politics,
right?
Let alone go and try to do it. But they did it. So it's the greatest period for our people that we've experienced in our time frame here on these shores.
And what made those 11 years of progress, what made them possible in the first place, and what halted all of that black progress and why? What made it possible in the first place? Why did it stop and why? Go ahead.
Forced unity made it possible.
Okay. Explain that, forced unity.
So although our culture had been stripped from us, and although our overall spiritual power had been blocked, it hadn't been stripped, but it had been blocked and replaced with religiosity, we were forced to deal with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And by us being forced to deal with each other, our money circulated, our intellectual capital circulated, our positive energy circulated, and within that forced unity comes the creation of great towns, music, businesses. All of these things come out of that time frame. And Louisiana is at the center of that because Louisiana had more free African descendants than any other part of this country. Mm-hmm. And that's where C.C. Antoine and his brother and their crew come out of that. So it was through that forced unity that made all of that great. Now, you say, why didn't that continue? The same reason that it existed is the same reason that it didn't continue. The forced unity cannot work when now Negroes now say, I can go sleep next to Mr. Charlie, or I can go shop with Mr. Charlie. I don't have to now deal with your ass the money, because in all actuality, I didn't like the black ass
in the first place.
in the first goddamn place.
Yeah. I
was only dealing with your punk ass because we had you. Mm-hmm. But now that I can go live across town, man, I don't like your goddamn hamburgers anyway. So the same thing that created the positive progression is what ended the positive progression, because now pseudo-integration was the first test to see whether or not forced unity was the equivalent of organic unity. And they're not the same, because in order to have organic unity, you gotta have spirituality and right culture. There's no way to get around.
All right, and this period of American history where when Reconstruction, Black Reconstruction ended, the North started pulling out. Black people didn't have the protection from the government, and that's when unions started to come into play, because white people were being exploited, not like slaves, because they weren't owned like slaves, but they were being exploited because they didn't have any money. So the wealthy, the plutocrats, they were taking advantage of the people, and people, didn't want that, so they were trying to form unions. Tell us about the labor wars that began to pop up and what they were all about during that time.
The labor wars were focused on making sure that white folks got skilled labor positions that Black people already were skilled with. Because hell, we were the ones working during goddamn slavery.
That's right.
So we were the artisans, we were the goddamn farmers, we were all of that. So if this was something that was left up to, you earning and you making it happen, they would have been starving and broke. Mm-hmm. So now you had to have the union being created in order to negotiate on behalf of the broke ass white folk, because plutocrats don't give a damn what color you are. Capitalism is about profit. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to making sure that we don't come up, that's when the race card is thrown in so that the white folks can join forces with the plutocrats, because no matter how oppressed a white person is, guess what's in the back of their goddamn mind?
I ain't black.
Is to always be like who? The white plutocrat.
Right, the 1%.
Okay?
Yeah.
Although their labor politics is more aligned with our labor politics, and their socioeconomic is more in line with ours, at the back of their mind, their desire is to be like the white plutocrat. So we've always gotten caught up, as Frederick Douglass did, believing that just because there was some commonality, that we could make an ethical and moral appeal to them. But see, they lack spirituality, so they don't give a goddamn about ethics and morality. They only use those concepts as tools in the human game of chess that they play. And there's a clip from the movie Count of Monte Cristo that I showed this female today who was talking about Trump being the shot caller, and Edmond Dantes is having a conversation with Napoleon Bonaparte, and he has a chess piece, and the chess piece he has is a king. And Napoleon has been exiled to this island, and Napoleon sees Edmond Dantes with the chess piece, and he said, "Tell me about that chess piece." He said, "Well, it's the king." He said, "Yeah, I know that." He said, "Well, me and my friend, when we have a victory in life, one of us will get the king." Okay. Now, this is a dude who couldn't even read the whole movie, and we're gonna do that movie, by the way,
okay,
at some point. The whole movie is about that first few minutes of that scene. And as Edmond Dantes is going back to France, Napoleon is heard telling his assistant, listen to this. He says, "King and pawn," that's in relationship to the physical game. And then he says, metaphorically, emperors and fools. And that's in relationship to the human chess. So a king and an emperor are the same, and a pawn and a fool are the same.
Right.
And because we lack, like Edmond Dantes, he lacked the learning ability, the understanding, the comprehension, the wisdom of subject matter. You see in the movie, he was played as a pawn and as a fool. But when he was exiled for talking to Napoleon, a person in jail taught him how to read, how to think, and then ultimately got him to escape the prison, and the rest became history. But that's where we're at in the game. Kings and pawns, emperors and fools.
That's another perfect segue, and you talked about them earlier, but the kings and the pawns, the emperors and the fools, the different pieces on the chessboard, these people who think that Trump is for them, they don't understand that they are pawns on the chessboard. They think that they're just like Trump, but they don't understand, like you said earlier, there are micro plutocrats, micro oligarchs, and micro aristocrats in every ethnic group to help to make them believe that they can be like Trump, or make them believe that the system is fair, equitable, whatever, and it is not. Because going back to the labor wars and the unions, it's about them controlling your labor, controlling your physical body, so they can do with it what they want, while you buy into the idea that America is fair, America is equitable. You know, you can achieve whatever you want to. The great American dream, blah blah, the pipe dream, right?
Exactly.
So
The only correction to what you just said, everything that you just said was correct, with the exception of when you said they think.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
Oh, they don't think. Correct.
They
believe. Gotcha.
Like Trump.
Fair.
They bypass the process of thinking, and they go to believe. So that means now when you present facts to them, they reject it because they never thought about it, because they don't know how to think. And that's not only them, that's the majority of people, including Negroes.
And we know that is the case because, as we learned in Waiting for Superman, we never taught how to think. Exactly. Because they don't want you critically thinking. They want you to be a cog in the wheel. Which is, it's so funny how those movies come back to what we talk about. Which is why everybody needs to be at those movie discussions. Okay, so it's safe to say that slavery was about labor. The labor wars were also about labor. So where does that leave us in the 21st century, in this matrix that we exist in? Is it also a new kind of slavery coming or already here as relates to labor?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And really right now, this is where the white man's burden comes in. That is like, that's why I had us look at the Trick Baby deal, because it's like, what do we do with these Negroes now?
Right.
Okay. Because if you ask, see, if you're not, the white folks got this game so cold.
Yes, sir.
There are the number one industry that white folks have created, the number one industry in the world, and you're hearing it first here at the Revolutionary Code. The number one industry in the world is entertainment.
Yeah.
And they're so cold with the game of entertainment because they got branches of entertainment. Sports entertainment, movie entertainment, television entertainment, religious entertainment, governmental politics entertainment, journalism anything that is a want, desire, or necessity in the matrix, there's an entertainment slant to it. Now, why is that? If you're not fitting into one of the realms of entertainment, and you are not fitting into the mechanism of going to do physical labor as a service employee, and you're not one of these intellectuals who can do STEM or STEAM, they don't have no goddamn use for it.
That's right.
So that's why jail is so important.
Oh, no doubt.
But since now everybody wants people out of jail, defund the police, look at what the white folks say. Okay, we're gonna let these criminals out, and we're gonna put the onus on you. And so now, within the overall realm, the white man's burden is, let's force them to come back to us because they still don't get it.
Right.
Because the game is designed to create what? A permanent underclass.
Yes, sir.
The game is, there is no goddamn equality in this game.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, Brother Craig, the beauty of the chess moves are that not only are they going to put the onus back on the community, which the community cannot handle, but they are changing how they run their penal system, because it's no longer going to be about physical bars, but about electronic monitoring in your neighborhood. So your community is going to become the prison.
Exactly.
And again, we're so busy. I used to say we're playing checkers while they play chess. Shit, we playing marbles. We don't even understand how the game is played, and we're always multiple steps behind because we're not paying attention. We're being diverted, distracted with the entertainment. We don't know how to think. When someone tries to teach us how to think, we get offended. We want to believe that somebody else is going to do it. We got issues all over the place, and that's one of the reasons why everything we do is about trying to bring our people together to find the right person, because everybody ain't gonna make it. Everybody don't want to make it. Everybody's not equipped to make it, and we got to find the right people so that we can build what we need to build, and we can control it, so that we can do our own thing as we see fit. And it's unfortunate that most of our people simply aren't ready, and that's why they're not gonna make it. All right, wrapping this thing up, I got 3 more questions. Tonight's show title: Black Codes, Labor Wars, and Industrial Slavery. Winners, losers, and how we flip the script. Who are the winners?
Like the architects, the engineers, and the managers of the game are the primary winners.
All right.
As of yesterday, individuals like yourself, myself, and our team, we're goddamn winners.
Yep.
Because we need this shit as fucked up as possible.
That's right. Make the Negro force his hand.
Yesterday was one of the greatest. I was watching people cry and shit. I can't believe if those were black people, they'll be dead. Craig, what do you think? Well, I'm like, it's a great goddamn day. That's why I needed Trump to goddamn win 4 years ago. And this thing is playing out better than I predicted. And one sister who grew up with me, she's a few years older, she inboxed me today. She was too embarrassed to put it on the main post, so she sent it to me on the back channel. Because I've been telling her ass for 4 years that Trump is a double agent for the Democratic Party. And so she sent me a video, and I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay.
Somebody took a video of Trump and his family. They were in a tent watching the goddamn thing unfold. And they were saying, it's almost time for everything to jump off. They were watching it on TV. And so she's so embarrassed now. She don't want to, she can't put it on the main news feed.
Okay.
I've been telling her punk ass for 4 years.
Right.
It's just all staged.
Yeah.
Trump was never supposed to win. They wanted Hillary to win.
Right.
But since he did such a great job and he won, the Republicans used him to mobilize their base. The Democrats were using him to destroy the Republican Party so they could get back in office. And his punk ass was setting his family up so that they could make as much money when he gets out of it.
Yep.
So people are believing that Stacey Abrams did all of this great shit. No, ma'am. No, sir. Trump was the reason that old boy won and the Democrats won in Georgia.
Yeah.
That's why he kept on doing what he was doing, because he ignited black folks, African Americans, to go to the polls. So who won? Grassroots revolutionaries won yesterday, if we can see beyond the exoteric surface.
Right.
It's just the opportunity for us to mobilize and organize, but the Democrats want these Negroes to go back to sleep. But now is the time for us to handle our business at the local level throughout the United States and maneuver. And I'm not even getting tripped out with the Negro Democrats. Let them do their thing at the national level, because ain't a goddamn thing gonna happen at the national level. And we work our work at the local level so we can make some things happen.
Got it.
So yeah, we were winners.
Who are the losers?
On with architects.
Who are the losers? Who are the losers?
Shit, the vast majority of the goddamn thing.
Because
They ain't in the game. They administrators watching news entertainment
Yep.
and following religious entertainers and political entertainers trick them into believing that Trump is the goddamn boogeyman when all of these people are working on the same thing. Look at what Lindsey Graham is now saying. Trump, you gotta go. Look at what Mike Pence is saying. Hey, Trump, you gotta go. Look at what Mitch McConnell is saying. Trump, these people work together, man.
Yep. Yep. I saw a brief news clip. It was kind of funny. They were in the, I think they were in the Senate chambers, and Kamala Harris was standing at a podium, and Mitch, was it Mitch McConnell? I think it was Mitch McConnell. No, Lindsey Graham. He just walks by and they fist bump. So Kamala Harris and they're supposed to be, you know, like at odds with each other, coming to them. They fist bump and kept on walking. I'm like, ain't that interesting? But you know, like you said, they working together. So again, it's unfortunate that not only, you know, most of our people, but it's unfortunate that most grassroots people don't get it, and that's another thing that makes your political strategy is so important, because you understand that it's about grassroots of different groups doing their own thing for their particular group, which is going to be cool once we get that done. So last two things, bringing all of this home. You know, we can't be like other people who give Black people good information, then say good luck with that information, scare the hell out of you. We want to let you know what to do with that information. So bring all of this stuff home. Tonight's show title: Black Codes, Labor Wars, and Industrial Slavery, Winners, Losers, and How We Flip the Script. So how do we flip the script on this this new form of industrial slavery? How do we flip the script, push back, and make this thing work for us?
Number one, you got to become a goddamn entrepreneur. And my philosophy of entrepreneurship is cultural, social entrepreneurship. I'm glad that Dr. Tara Jones is on the phone call tonight, because she is an economic strategist and is from Shreveport, and we collaborate on various things, and we got some things that we're working on here. So that's number one, from a labor perspective, because if you can't create a business concept, you're not going to be able to make it out here. Mm-hmm. The vast majority of these cities, the majority of people work for the public sector. Corona is impacting the tax revenues
big time
for municipalities. So your ass is going to be fired. This is just reality.
Yep.
Most people don't understand how this stuff works. So you got to become entrepreneurs. That's number one, as a cultural social entrepreneur, because you can't be driven by profit. You got to make profit in order to help hire people and put resources back into the community. After you take care of your immediate extended family, you got to be able to help do some things back in the community. So that's number one. Number two, you got to mobilize and organize at the local level, from the city, parish, county standpoint, with other like-minded grassroots people. Since most people don't know how to do that, they got to jump to the third point, which is to mobilize, get mobilization and organization training with us here at the Black Gold Nation, so that they can now go back into their respective cities and counties and parishes, so that then they can implement and work with individuals. And then you got to get prepared for your next election.
Yes, sir.
So that you can now take over as a grassroots revolutionary your local apparatus.
That's right.
That's the only way. You're going to have to do that, and that's that's a multi-dimensional format. Entrepreneurship, public policy, financial institutions, all of these particular things are necessary, and you have to have a team in order to do that. And I'm just blessed and honored to be a part of this team with people like Sister Fabu and Brother Ken and Brother Naru and Sister Mary and Sister Jennifer, all these, Brother Harlan, and all these phenomenal minds that the Creator has blessed you to help mobilize and organize as we seek to put the infrastructural training in place to be the mechanism that help do this for our people on a national and international level. So that's the solution. Mm-hmm. It ain't no damn hocus pocus, ain't no goddamn what's the damn magician who does all of the magic tricks and whatnot. David Blaine, ain't no David Blaine and no Copperfield,
right?
Going on. You got to get in, roll up your sleeves, and do some work. That's how this thing works.
And you
by the way, Kimani, the millionaire. Remember when we stopped by the bank the other week?
Yeah.
And I told you, old boy was out.
Yeah.
Now he's multi-millionaire. He called me today.
Okay.
Yeah. Aaron Turner. What's up, Craig? I said, I'm gonna bring you some goddamn meat pies tomorrow. What you doing? You staying in trouble? So through the meat pies, I'm going to go meet with one of the wealthiest white people in the state tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And he's a Republican, but he's a supporter of mine. And you know I'm a guy.
Excellent. And you know what was interesting about rolling up your sleeves and getting to work? You know, it really isn't deep. It really isn't brain surgery. It's just a matter of being willing to put in the time, energy, and effort to understand, to study, to go to meetings, to mobilize, to organize, and then, build your political apparatus to take power. So it's not something that, you got to know how to do brain surgery. You just got to be willing to put in the time to learn and do. And if you're willing to do that, then you can make a lot of things happen. So last question, brother. If there could only be one takeaway from tonight's show that you want everybody to walk away with, you only get one takeaway that you want everybody to walk away with, those that are watching now and those that watch the recording, what would that one takeaway be from tonight's show? One, brother, and we over, so hurry up.
Damn.
You only get one, brother. You only get one.
The definition of power.
Okay.
The ability to define reality and have others respond to your definition as if it were their own. So the question becomes, are you gonna create secure power, or are you going to roll with someone else's power?
I can dig it. All right. So with that, brother, I'm going to thank you for tonight's show. And we want to make sure that no one has any questions before we sign off. So does anyone in our quote unquote studio audience, does anybody have a question or comment for Brother Craig before we close this thing out? Anybody at all? Any questions or comment for Brother Craig about tonight's show? Any questions or comments going once, going twice? All right, Brother Craig, that simply means that you did an absolutely fantastic job because everybody's clear. So with that, you have any closing remarks for everybody before we close this thing out tonight?
I just want everybody to be focused on having a great 2021. And again, the Creator and the ancestors are moving. And I want them to embrace the 6 pillars of empowerment, especially the first 3, because spirituality, right culture, and education sets everything up for the embrace of economics, socioeconomics, and politics. And, be about the business of learning your purpose from a macro and a micro standpoint, and being willing to die on your square, stand on your square, and be willing to die on your square, because you never know when that's going to be. And with that, I want you guys to have a great rest of the week and a phenomenal 2021.
All right, excellent. So if anyone wants any more information about the Black Gold Nation movement and what we're doing to mobilize and organize our people nationally, specifically locally, my email address is theblackgoldnation@gmail.com, theblackgoldnation@gmail.com. If you want to learn more about the Black Gold Nation movement and what we're doing, please go to our events website, blackgold-wakandarising.com, blackgold-wakandarising.com, and register for the Project 2021 presentation or the League of Extraordinary Minds presentation, so you can learn more about what the Black Gold Nation movement is doing. Because again, as I said initially, we're not just here to talk and entertain you. We're trying to get you to do something. And lastly, this is our 21st episode. If you want to watch the other 20 episodes, you can see those as well as those phenomenal movie reviews that we've been talking about on our media website, blackgoldmedia.net. Again, this is our 21st episode. If you want to watch the previous 1 through 20, blackgoldmedia.net, as well as those movie reviews. Every movie review that we do is about getting our people to better understand the philosophy, system, and game of capitalistic white supremacy and racism, how it looks, how it plays out, how gangster it is, how they function, and why they do what they do. So it's not just about getting our people to cognitively understand. We will also want you to watch these movies because white people tell on themselves, they communicate with one another, and they fully lay out what they do or don't do and why. So if you're paying attention, you can not only learn a lot, but you can apply that to your life and what it means to be Black in this country and around the world. So again, in closing, Brother Craig and I, we are not here to just inform and educate. We want to inform, educate, motivate, mobilize, organize, and build. Everything we do is about bringing our people together so we can find the right Black people so we can build something that matters for our children. Always remember 2 things. No one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And absolutely always remember that nothing is more sacred, not me, not you, not your kids, not my kids, not your family, not my family. Nothing is more sacred than the liberation and salvation of Black people, because if Black people don't make it, you're not gonna make it, I'm not gonna make it, our kids aren't gonna make it, and our families are not going to make it. But if we put the group first, if we put the tribe first, if we become race people first and build a nation for our people, then by default, our families, our children, our loved ones will be okay, because they will be attached to a group that has power. And that's what matters in this country and on this planet, power. So with that, again, thank you guys for being a part. I sincerely appreciate it. We do this every Thursday, so we hope to see you next Thursday at 9 p.m. Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. Let's find the right Black people and build something that matters, because our enemies are not playing with us, and we don't have a bunch of time to get this thing moving in the way that it needs to be. So again, thank you very much. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Peace.
All right. Peace.